Well, let's talk about that a little bit because I think that's a really important piece of understanding your information, right? When you're making a bid on a project or a job or a new client, right? Or a new customer. If you're selling widgets, then you're really looking at cost per goods sold and operating expenses and those kind of things. But in reality, they're very similar, right? When you're bidding a job or you're making a proposal or a request for proposal, right? Where do you start to look in to say, well, I think this is what it costs me to do this job, to how variable it actually costs me? Where do we look for that?
Well, so like one of the things I would do is look at your past financials, right? Look at like kind of like a percentage of revenue, right? At certain materials because you're
But is
kind of
that something reasonable to ask a business owner? We just talked about it. No offense, business owners. We love you. I'm a business owner, but you're dumb when it comes to accounting. So when you ask them to look at the last percentage of,
well, you should
they're not
well,
going to
I'd
know
say
how.
right. And I say that is like, do you know what your profit margins should actually be, right? In construction, you're lucky if you're making 10 to 20%, okay? If that, right? And that's gross. So when we do like something, for example, we just had a client, a glazier that we work with, that we were doing job costing beforehand. He increased his profit margin by 30%
Mm.
after we had the bottom line for him, and we were costing out every single thing, and it all comes to internal procedures, right, and making sure you're doing everything. But to make it as simple as possible to utilize those numbers in the most efficient way, so you know how to estimate the right way, you have to have the right internal controls put in place, the right people that are giving you that data in order to make
Mm.
those informed decisions. Like we say it all the time, we set up all these softwares, automation, all this stuff. But if we're not getting the correct data, they're useless. And that's the
Garbage in is
biggest,
garbage out.
yes, and that is the biggest struggle I find with our clients is that we can't get them to put in the same amount of effort, like, to get where we need to get. If they
So
want us
that's
to
where the
do it,
bookkeeper comes in, though, right? We wouldn't expect the business owner to be doing data entry and putting it in there, but we also wouldn't expect the girl answering the phone as the receptionist to have the skill set to do it. So is that really an important hire that you want to have? Or outsource that you want to have, that bookkeeper knows exactly how to put in the data?
set and knows what they're working with, right? Like knows what data they're putting in, and first we automate, and then we have the right person to implement that data to automate, right? We
Got
just
it.
found this new tool. It's great. I'm giving them a little plug here, but it's called Adaptive. They're a software company that we just met out in Vegas when we were at the QuickBooks show. They are the first of its kind that does strictly job costing. That's all they do. Usually, when you find a software that does job costing, it's really more project management software.
Mm.
Procore, BuildOps, Notify. I'm just naming off a few people, software people might know. But they're just one facet of many. This company strictly just focuses on job costing, right? And from what I've seen on their case studies and trying out their software, they gave us a sandbox. They can reduce work time as far as data entry by almost 2 to 3 days. And from what I've seen, I mean, because what these people are manually doing, it's so much manual work of inputting the invoice, inputting the job codes, inputting the prices. It's just so redundant that there's no
Mm.
thinking involved. It's just robotic, and sometimes that's how mistakes get. We're trying to get somewhere where we're getting the right data in for these business owners to make the informed decisions, right? Because if I'm a business owner, I need to look at everything as high level as possible,
Right.
in order to
And
make
you
those
need to
informed
trust that
decisions.
the data is being put in properly and you have the codes on
Right.
them and you have the price for the widget that came to make the bigger widget that became to make, the service possible, right? So it's that daisy chain
Yeah,
of things.
100%.
One, if you make a mistake on A, then the whole thing's exponentially out of whack. But if you make the right moves everywhere along the chain, then it shows up accurate.
100%. And you know what? The problem is too, you have to have a staff that's open to change. And a lot of people aren't.
the
Like
the
with
bad
that,
word
that is
change.
like Oh my God. And that's why, like, I try to inform people when they come with us, we're going to have either one or two options. It's either we work with your team or you outsource the whole thing to us because they're not willing to do what you need to do to get you where you need to be.
Mhm.
And like if you want to set up your business for success, we deal with that a lot in the hospitality industry. We get these restaurants that come to us, right? And they have one location. Their dream is to expand to two, three, four, five locations. Okay, great. Let's do it. Let's
They
come up